And we should be good to go. Should be coming up here in just a second. And I'm going to get out of LinkedIn here. And there it is. Should be coming up here in just a second. I'll mute myself. Great. So here we go. This week in small business marketing, we're here. We made it to the end of the week. It's almost 5 o'clock. And I have barely made it through this week. It has been a wild week. It's been a wild Friday, but a good week. Hopefully you had a good week too. And you are as pumped up as I am. Let's find me on the screen here. How about that? Let's just do this. Let's go like this. We won't go full screen. We'll do it just like that. That way you can see me down in the corner here. So, all right, let's get out of this. Here's what's going on. So my name is Chris. Welcome to the live stream. I do this every single week for at least the last 3 weeks. And what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, I guess is the way to start, is, I wanted to, here's what I think. I think that there's a lot of information that's out on the interwebs that is accessible for small business owners. And my real objective as a business is to try to help small business owners make smart marketing decisions. And one of the ways you do that is by sharing good information. And, I posted a quote earlier this week about getting smarter, or when you have a problem that you can't solve, you have to go out and get smarter. And one of the ways to do that is to go out and read articles. Well, the issue with that is that there's a lot of crap out there. There's a lot of articles, and there's a lot of information that you may be able to consider as good or not, and you might just not know. So my objective in doing this video, and to continue to do it, is to try to sift through all that information as much as possible and pick out the stuff that I think is the most relevant to what's going on right now in the small business marketing world and give you an opinion on it. And my opinion is one of a marketer. So, if I were a business owner, or I am a business owner, and when I need to know something or I need to make a decision that I don't know a lot about, or the material that I don't really know a ton about, I have to source an expert, right? Like, for example, I do a lot of AdWords stuff for clients, and I'm pretty good at AdWords. I understand the fundamentals of how that works and what that means to a business, but by no means am I a full-on practitioner or a full-on expert in that area. So what I do for my clients that need AdWords or they need PPC is I source an expert in that field, and I rely on that person's opinion when making decisions on behalf of my clients. So, my hope here, to bring this back to why I'm doing these videos, is that I give you some meaningful advice or meaningful opinion about relevant topics that are going on in the small business marketing world, and hopefully that helps you, make smarter business decisions for your business or your friend's business or whoever's, right? So now this week I'm doing things a little bit different. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been learning. I'm very much so on a journey with this content stuff, and I felt like the last couple of weeks have really kind of rushed through the articles because there's been so many that I picked out. There were good ones, but this week I've only picked out 3. The last couple of weeks I've done 6 each week, and this week I only want to do 3, and I'm going to actually dive into them in more detail. I'll read a majority of them all the way through, and then kind of give my opinion and kind of dive into some of the topics a little bit more detail as I read through and at the end. And of course, this isn't changing. It's Friday, and it's Beer Friday. So cheers. This week I'm drinking a peanut butter milk stout from Belching Beaver. Very, very good milk stout, or very good peanut butter milk stout. I'd highly recommend it if you can get it. I think that this is brewed in Nevada, or where does it say here? Oceanside, California. So it's distributed in Nevada where I live, but it's probably distributed all throughout the Southwest area. So if you're in the Southwest area, check out the Belching Beaver peanut butter milk stout. All right, so let's talk marketing. This first one comes from the American Marketing Association, and this is one of my favorite places to source marketing articles from. Why? Because this is a pretty credible source. The AMA is a solid source. They got good writers, and they usually have really good topic material. In fact, if you go to my blog, a lot of the articles that I dissect on there, some of that I've done, have come from AMA. So they're usually on the point are on the ball when it comes to relevant topics too. So this one is kind of interesting. It jumped right out of me because it says 4 marketing tactics to stop using in 2019. Excuse me. Usually the way these articles go is it's like they want to tell you like the 15 things you should be doing. And it's kind of interesting to see somebody say, here's what you should stop doing. So let's read through the article and then talk about it a bit. So most marketers have a long list of new things they want to try in 2019, as I just said, but everyone has a limit. Here's what top marketers say they'll stop doing in 2019. Marketers tend to focus on more leads, more content, more website traffic, more engagement. We have to adapt quickly as digital marketing evolves, but there comes a point where you give up certain tactics. You aren't still doing fax marketing, are you? If you're still using fax machines to market, you should consider other alternatives. Although it's kind of funny, tangent on this, there are people that still use fax machines, and it's kind of funny, especially in the Midwest when I used to work there. You know, you get a client on the phone and they're like, can you fax it to me? And it's like, what? I don't even know how to fax. I guess I'm in that top end of millennials. I don't know if I'm quite there. It depends on the day. I'll consider myself a millennial, but we just don't know how to use fax. Even like e-fax stuff just isn't there. But anyways, let's continue reading. Rather than add to your ever-lengthening to-do list for 2019, I created a list, not me, the person that wrote this, of what your fellow marketers plan to stop doing or to do less of this year. The answers come from about 40 marketers who responded to an informal poll in late December 2018. B2B marketers made up more than half of these respondents. So it sounds like this person kind of just asked 40 marketers what was going on, what their opinion was on what they're going to not use or use less of. The answers below are ranked in order of how often specific tactics were mentioned. Remember that what has stopped working for one person might just be ramping up for another. But some of these suggestions might be right for your marketing strategy too. Who couldn't use one less thing to do? Okay. Number 1, Facebook advertising. If you happen to own any Facebook stock, this change might give you some pause. But the most common answer from marketers in the survey is that they plan to do less Facebook advertising in 2019. This was far and away the most mentioned tactic that marketers plan to stop or do less of. Interesting. Although Facebook's privacy missteps are a concern, that's not why marketers are backing off the platform. Facebook ads just don't work as well as they used to. Marketers are practical people. When something stops working, they tend to move on. 2 marketers mentioned one metric specifically: the cost of acquisition for leads is rising. I think I mentioned that last week. Another mentioned that the marketing qualified leads from Facebook are increasingly bad. Many other marketers didn't cite specific metrics, but said that Facebook advertising platform in general is getting more expensive and competitive. That's what we said last week, man. It's getting more expensive to advertise on Facebook, and the effectiveness of these ads is going down. I would say that Facebook advertising is losing its effectiveness, combined with the fact that there's less people on Facebook. And by less people, I mean less young people, right? So the 18 to 24 market and younger than that is shrinking in there. So that's a sizable market area, and you just wouldn't advertise on a platform that doesn't have that if you're trying to reach those people. So that's number 1. Number 2 is cold outreach. Cold outreach is an umbrella term covering LinkedIn in-mails. 2 marketers mentioned in-mails expressively. Cold emails and cold calls. The dreaded sales pitch that comes immediately after connecting on social media was also mentioned several times. Most survey respondents did not say they plan to stop doing instant sales pitches themselves because it's not a tactic any of them have ever found to be useful. They just wish other people would stop doing it. It's a nice wish, but don't hold your breath. Most of us are still getting 2 or 3 of these auto-reply sales pitches every week. The response rates are probably abysmal, but because these messages can be automated to take a little effort to send, the offenders may just keep sending them, even if it annoys the rest of us. Kevin Thomas Tully, North America Senior Vice President at Creation Agency is a big one, has some advice for people who want to use cold outreach. Here's what he said. Would you respond to the email you just sent if it appeared in your inbox? Would you even open it? If the answer is a resounding no, it's time to start over. So what he says, would you respond to the email you just sent if it appeared in your inbox? So if you were analyzing your email, if you say no, then it's time to start over. Okay, solid piece of advice, but pretty general. It's like saying, don't try to ice skate uphill. It's not going to work. I've got one more suggestion for you too. If you must use cold emails, at least use a signature with links to more information about you. People often click the links in those signatures to get out who you are, yada, yada, yada. Use a signature. As Gail Gardner, a small business marketing strategist, says, I like to vet the people who contact me via email. The ones wise enough to include their LinkedIn or other method of contact outside of email are far more likely to get a reply. Okay, so if you're gonna, that's a solid piece of advice. If you're gonna do some cold email, put some links in the footer of your inbox, or footer of your email. I think we mentioned that a couple of weeks ago with like the guerrilla marketing tactics that you can do some stuff in your email footer that is kind of interesting and cool. I do think it's interesting that we're saying that cold outreach is going down. And I've been kind of thinking this for a long time. I've worked on call floors. I've done cold calling all across the board. I would do it when I worked for marketing agencies too. You just straight up cold call a business or just walk in. I've done cold emails. The LinkedIn stuff, this was a matter of time before people stopped using this. I mean, if you're on LinkedIn, I did this too. I've used the systems that are like these bots that will search LinkedIn and visit everyone's profile and send a contact request, a connection request. And if they say yes, then they'll send a message, and this type of stuff. And for like a minute, and by a minute, I mean like a minute, this was hot and you could really use it and people weren't really expecting it. But now 50% of the people that connect with me on LinkedIn, they're sending me a follow-up sales email. Now, does that mean it's completely dead? Not necessarily. I talked to a client just this week that we were talking about using this type of service. It's not completely dead, but you have to really be cognizant of what's going on in the market, which is that there's a lot of people that are doing it and they're not doing a good job. They're like, hey, can I pitch you my crap? Like immediately. They're not even saying like, hey, what's up? Thanks for the connection, or setting a delay on that message so it looks even remotely human. People are getting smarter at detecting these bots, especially as people that are younger are kind of getting into decision maker roles. They're a little bit more adept to picking out these bots. And if you're going to have a robotic approach to cold emailing and cold LinkedIn in-mailing, then people are going to pick up on it. It's not going to work for you. And it's just going to be a waste of time. And really what you're doing, which is more upsetting, is you're damaging the reputation of these systems and making it less effective for people that are actually trying to use it properly. But anyways, I digress. Let's move on to the next one. Number 3, social media. Number 3 of the things that are going to be used less in 2019. This isn't something people intend to quit so much as they plan to scale back on, referring to social media. Consultant Sophie Lee spoke for a lot of our respondents when she described the situation this way. Social media is heading towards a phase where less is more. Okay. Facebook takes a hit here too. We talked about that a second ago. Marketers are naming it the #1 social media platform they plan to scale back on. Talked about that. 4 marketers said they were scaling back specifically on Facebook posts, either for their clients or for their own companies. This is consistent with cutting back on Facebook ads too. Organic reach is mostly gone. So if you're trying to make organic content work on Facebook, you're probably using advertising to amplify your successful posts. The delusion with Facebook is tipping into Instagram as well. About half of the people who said they were stepping back from Facebook tactics also said they were going to cut back on Instagram. This one's interesting. Instagram is one of those ones, that we've kind of considered to be not quite touched yet, but maybe we're getting there. Then there's the issue of video on Facebook. Social Media Examiner cut back their Facebook video efforts recently, too much ado, and they're not the only ones. Convergent optimization consultant Nils Katau, sorry, I probably mispronounced your name there, said he plans to step back from Facebook's live streaming in 2019. As he explains it, the reach got killed by the platform. Where I used to have up to 10 to 50,000 views, now I only get 2,000, although 20 people share the stream. So yeah, so Facebook views are going down, and I think that this was bound to happen because when Facebook launched their live thing and they were trying to make a big old, push for it. This was like 2017, 2018. I think they launched before that, but 2017, 2018 was a really popular time for Facebook Live. They manipulated the algorithm to make sure that Facebook Live videos made it to more people. And this was like known that it would happen because they would send your friends and stuff like that a notification about it. Now I guess it's happening less and it's becoming less effective. So Facebook kind of scaled back a bit on that. So kind of expected this, but this isn't the only place it's happening. We'll see if they get through this rest of this, see if they get to what I'm about to say in the rest of this little section here. But if not, I'll tell you about it. But let's continue reading. There were also a few marketers who said they'll tweet less. B2B marketers said that they've been refocusing on social media efforts on Twitter and LinkedIn, or they'd be refocusing it. So Twitter and LinkedIn is going to get used less. One person mentioned cutting back on Google+. Google+ is dead. Why are we even talking about it? LinkedIn isn't safe from the chopping block either. No one said they plan to stop using it entirely, but they did plan to cut specific tactics. Most notably, LinkedIn expert Bjorn Tillman said, "I have stopped using LinkedIn groups. While these were at one time one of the best ways to find and engage targeted audiences, the new redesign has done away with all of that." Okay, we've done away with what was good about groups. None of the marketers I spoke with mentioned SlideShare specifically, but others have noted that it has gone out of vogue. The one I was going to mention here is YouTube. And, I've been kind of hearing about this from YouTube creators, like the influencers on YouTube, that depending on your content, you're getting really regulated with your amount of views. And this has kind of been going on here, and they're kind of worried about what's really going on. Is the YouTube regulating them? Are they not? And whatnot. So I think the interesting one to watch here would be YouTube and how that actually affects content distribution. If that eventually ends up on the 2020 list of things we're going to use less. I don't know. All right, last one here in this article, blogging, mostly on third-party sites. So 3 people mentioned cutting back on various types of blogging. The most interesting comment came from Catherine Aragon. Aragon, that reminds me of Lord of the Rings. Sorry, distraction. Catherine Aragon, a content marketing pro who says she plans to do less blogging and a lot less social media, trying to keep the focus on tasks with higher return. Okay. Shovel John, founder and CEO of Alana Media, said he'll stop guest posting and put more content on his own site. Speaker and author Matt Sweetwood says he'll stop writing articles for LinkedIn Pulse. They have made the algorithm so restrictive, essentially no one sees your articles. Publish on your own blog and promote instead. One last thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that 20% of the respondents specifically said they don't plan to discontinue any tactics. That's 1 in 5 people. 80% said they plan on doing at least one thing. So that's the caveat to this whole article here, but this is the interesting one. This guy says publish on your own blog and promote instead. So this is absolutely a good tactic. Publish the content on your own blog and then use advertising platforms to promote it. Get it pushed on Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere else that you can advertise stuff. But if you're gonna be trying to get the eyeballs on it, what they're saying is that the effectiveness of posting it on third-party websites is kind of going down. Now, I would pose an argument to that. I would say, isn't there still some value from an SEO perspective? And I think the answer would be absolutely yes. That if you post your articles on other websites, especially if they're well-traveled sites and they have good reputation and they rank well on social media, or not social media, on search engines, that you're going to get an SEO boost from that. So getting your blogs posted on third-party websites is by no means a dead thing. I think you should actually continue to do that frequently in 2019. I would never stop that. Now, if your objective is to get eyeballs and traffic from those articles, maybe that's where we're talking about here, that there's just not as much traction from the third-party site or doing guest blogs. But from an SEO perspective, I would definitely consider it. So, cool article. If you want to read it yourself, if you didn't like the way my voice sounded or you're just joining in, then I'll leave the link in, it should be on the YouTube video, and I'll leave it in the Facebook once I get done. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. And before we do that, I'm taking a sip of beer. All right. What's this next one about? This one's on Forbes, and I'm a bit surprised that I found an article on Forbes. Usually the marketing articles I see on Forbes, they're like really vanilla. They're kind of soft hitters. And, I tend to not want to use them because they're not really providing a whole lot of value, any deep value anyways. This one, though, was kind of interesting. And I have my opinions about it. And that's why I wanted to share with it because, I'm going to give my opinion. But anyways, let's read through it and then we'll talk about it. Small businesses harmed by fintech leaders, entrepreneur advocates warn Congress. Fintech is financial tech, for the people who don't know. Small businesses are being harmed by fintech leaders, two entrepreneur activists told Congress today. Many small business owners are vulnerable to predatory practices from the unregulated lenders, said John Ahrensmeyer, founder and CEO of Small Business Majority. Here's what he said. The transformation in small business lending holds great potential, but this can only be achieved if the industry is built on transparency, fairness, and putting the rights of borrowers at the center of the lending process. The leader of the advocacy group attested before. So John here, John testified in front of Congress. So that's pretty cool, at least in front of the Small Business Committee. He noted the problem of predatory online lenders, in particularly acute. The predatory online lenders, or the problem of predatory online predators, is particularly acute for small businesses in rural areas, which have fewer places to get traditional loans. All right. To aid entrepreneurs in their efforts to obtain money without being at the mercy of fraudsters, Ahrensmeyer said he co-authored the Small Business Borrowers Bill of Rights. Here it is. Let's check this thing out real quick. So, Small Business Borrowers Bill of Rights. I'm not going to read through this whole thing because it's kind of long, and I checked it out earlier, but let's look at some of the terms they're going to advocate for here. So, the right to transparent pricing and terms, transparent rates, no hidden fees, plain English terms, clear comparison, the right to non-abusive products, no debt traps, no double dipping, no hidden prepayment charges, appropriate product, whatever that means, pressure-free, prompt prepayment assistance, responsive complaint management, clear notice regarding referrals, the right to responsible underwriting, believe in the borrower, alignment of interest, right-sized financing, responsible credit reporting, more rights. So this stuff actually reminds me a lot of what happened in the telecommunications cell phone world. There was like this whole thing that came out where it was years ago where the cell phone companies were regulated that they had to have more clear contracts, and the contracts had to be structured in a way that made it less deceptive, because what was happening is people would get involved in contracts and all of a sudden have their bills run up, and that's no good, right? Actually, I think I'm mistaken that this was credit card companies went through this, and because they were kind of being accused of fraud, and they got regulated. So now when you sign up for a credit card, you got to have clear disclosures on what you're getting into. It sounds like these guys are picking up on some data that these small businesses are kind of getting roped over here by predatory lenders. So let's continue reading here and dissect more into this. The harm predatory fintech lenders can inflict on entrepreneurs is so bad, some small businesses are being put out of business by the high interest rates the lenders charge. Sabrina Parsons warned the House panel on behalf of the Main Street Alliance. The Alliance is a nationwide network of over 30,000 small business owners. Parsons is the CEO of Palo Alto Software, a small Oregon developer of business and marketing plan formats. While the high interest rates are staring small business owners in the face, okay, that was weird, when they sign on the dotted line, Parsons said that entrepreneurs feel like they have to borrow from them because no one else will lend them money. And here is where I have the issue, okay? I'm going to get into this in a second. Let's finish the article because I want to take a minute to kind of go through this and give my opinion on this. But Continuing. Responding to the charges by Ahrensmeyer and Parsons, U.S. Chamber of Commerce Small Business Policy Chief Tom Sullivan, there are plenty of online lenders who are helpful to small businesses as well as the fraudsters who are paying on them. He praised Intuit and Square for strong due diligence in making small business loans with the years of data they have on the borrowers. Small Business Committee Chair, New York Democrat Nydia Velasquez said online lenders should be as transparent with small business owners as other sources of loans. Okay, so here's the thing. These people went in front of Congress and they said, yo, these people are getting, these small businesses are getting preyed upon with these loans, and it's not good. They're getting had. We need to make sure this stuff is clear. And let's revisit this part where I have an issue here. While the high interest rates are staring small business owners in the face when they sign on the dotted line, so they're seeing the high interest rate, Parsons, the guy who's like this company here, says that entrepreneurs still feel they have to borrow from them because no one else will lend them money. And that's the issue. No one else is lending you money, so you're going to go out and get this predatory, sketchy loan. The issue is that no one else is going to lend you money. So instead of blaming the people that are not lending you money, let's take a look at your business and see why it's not able to be invested in or able to take a loan. Maybe you don't have the assets to be able to back up the loan. That's the whole purpose of the loan, is to leverage a piece of capital or something like that against the loan. So if you don't pay it, you get it back. The predatory loans are saying, well, we're not going to take that thing from you, or maybe we will and we'll overvalue it, but we're going to give you a high interest rate in a short time frame. You got to pay it all back in a year at 27% interest or something like that. The issue is, maybe you're not really in a position to be taking money out, and you should really evaluate your business first and discover if you really should be taking out a loan, or if there's another way to get money. And it's a sad story, that I'm sure there's probably a lot of businesses, like they said, in the rural areas that are trying to make things work, and they're trying to, feed their families, and they got employees and things like that, and a loan may be the only way to do this. But you're doing more damage than good, by taking the loan you really shouldn't be taking. What is probably going to happen here with Congress, and I'm going to try to step lightly through this political thing, because I don't want to get super political here, but what tends to happen is an overreaction. So, this is a point, anytime you get a chance to attack predatory lenders, it's a common, it's a win for a politician. They're going to come on here and they're going to attack hard, and they're going to put forth this Bill of Rights thing, and they're going to regulate everybody. And what's going to happen is people that are doing it right, like Square and, I would probably loop PayPal into that category, and Intuit and some of these other companies. They're going to be the ones that actually follow these rules and do it properly and have to jump through all these hoops. And it's probably going to increase rates on their front. It's going to be harder for them to do these things. The people that are, doing the predatory loans and being sketchy, they're just going to continue to be sketchy. So I think the real answer here is more behind the scenes and really evaluating your business, if it's even ready for a loan, if it can even have one or sustain one. But still an interesting article. Still something to maybe keep an eye out over this year to see what changes in the small business loan game. But anyways, moving on. Let's move to the next one. Okay, cool. First things first. Cheers. This is a good beer. Again, if you didn't catch this at the beginning of the little podcast here, the peanut butter milk stout from Belching Beaver. Probably can't get it anywhere outside of the Southwest United States, but if you can't, then sorry, dude, you're missing out on a good beer. Alrighty, so it's starting to get dark in my office, so I'm gonna try to buzz through this last one and wrap things up here for you. So, why your small business needs a strong content marketing plan. Okay, so I picked this one out because I think there's some good points here. I'm a fan and advocate of content marketing, so let's just reiterate some of the same things that I've been saying, but in article form here. So big brands go all out for pushing amazing content as they do for SEO tactics, right? Big brands go all out in pushing amazing content as they do other SEO tactics, right? I think that's a weird sentence. With the kind of competition they pose online, they present quite a challenge for small businesses to dare venture in SEO. Is content marketing really essential for small businesses? Yes. There is a way for small businesses to realize a positive ROI from a solid content marketing plan. Here are a couple reasons to get you on board in considering a content marketing plan for your business. Here's a cool graphic, the benefits of content marketing, brand awareness, among other things, which I'm sure we're going to read about here. So, thing number one, why you should consider content marketing is means, excuse me, that belching beaver is making me belch, means of promotion. As a small business, you need all the attention you can get. It's true. In essence, this means that you have to find different channels to sell your brand. Since people also want to hear from you and get access to newer products and services that are in the market, having content marketing can get you there. Content marketing is the way you get your information to people, and the best part is that you do not have to try so hard to sell yourself. You can get people to attend to your brand by sharing a lot more significant value beyond the details of your products and services. So, let's dissect this slightly here or quickly. A piece of content can do more, to explain your brand and promote you than just like a quick little like an ad like this. This is not really a piece of content. This kind of click ad over here, this thing right here, but an article, a video, a series of posts, that can all be considered content marketing. It can be a means of promotion for you. So, good point. Larger audience reach. Okay, let's see what you got to say here. Do you know how the thought of having so many customers excites you? Okay, cheesy with some of this stuff. Well, as a business owner of a small business, taking up content marketing is the swiftest way to get to expose your business to new products. The way this article is written is very strange. Maybe I should have picked a different one. We're finishing strong here, people. All right. The even better news is that there are so many people online that can benefit from your material, and that makes sense for business owners to get access to a larger audience. Remember, once you have shared a piece of content, it keeps earning you traffic every day, reaching out to new persons in different platforms. So the SEO game, absolutely. You post an article, get that article up on the internet. The longer it sits up there, the better it is for SEO. The more articles you have about the same topic, it's going to be good for SEO. If you can get those articles posted on other people's blogs, especially if those blogs have good traffic in them, that URL is a good reputation, then it can benefit SEO, and that SEO is going to get you more traffic. So absolutely, bigger audience reach. Improve audience engagement. Definitely, I can see how content marketing can do that for you. Let's maybe read some of this stuff if we can and not stumble over it. Audience engagement is one way to measure whether your customers are satisfied with the products and services you offer them. Because business owners try as much as possible to engage with customers with brochures, flyers, suggestion boxes, among other forms. With content marketing, however, you can get this done. Is a very easy way. All right, so I'm not going to continue reading this paragraph because it's a mess. Whoever wrote this thing, maybe rewrite it. I think the points you're making are pretty good, but I'm fumbling here with maybe it's the Belching Beaver. I don't know. Overall, you have, let's just skip ahead. Overall, you have way more opportunities to satisfy your customers through the different feedback channels than it is to do without solid content marketing plan. So, yeah, I think that if you have an article or you have multiple posts, so we've been using articles as an example, but another example of content marketing is, let's say you have like 3 or 4 posts that are going to go up on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever that are all connected. Consider it like an integrated marketing plan that are making different points on social media. Well, instead of just having one post, now you have 4, and that's 4 opportunities for engagement. So I think the point they're making is, I think what they're trying to say is right, that content affords an opportunity to initiate a discussion or be a place for a discussion to take place, if that makes sense. But the engagement's generally good for your brand. All right, increase brand visibility. We kind of mentioned this a second ago. They're saying SEO is going to be good. You're going to have backlinks and all this different type of stuff from using the content. So I won't reiterate that. Keeping up with your competitors. If you do not have any other reason to come up with a good content marketing strategy, do it to overcome your competition. Ideally, the world is very tech savvy today, and most, if not all, of your competitors are already super active in content marketing. If you are not doing it, it means that your prospect target audience are going to your competitors for product, services, and ultimately content. So I think they're making an assumption here that your competitors are already doing this. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Do the research. See what your competitors are doing first before you make that claim. However, the likelihood is they're probably doing some form of it. And if they're not, then that is a massive opportunity for you to win. Especially at a local level, if you employ certain like keyword tactics, for example, if you're in Las Vegas, that's where I'm at, and you write articles about the Las Vegas community and your service, or you use the word Las Vegas in your content along with your service, like for example, let's say you're a financial advisor, you can say, I provide retirement planning in Las Vegas or to Las Vegas citizens or whatever. And if you continue to reiterate that type of content structure, it's going to benefit SEO, and you're going to outbeat your competitors from a search ranking perspective. Furthermore, let's take it beyond SEO here. If you take the time to develop cool videos, if you're a restaurant and you're doing videos of you and your chef or something like that, or you're doing your daily specials frequently, or you're taking the time to do audio over videos, and you're explaining your food and the backstory behind why you do certain things a certain way and the quality of your ingredients and all that stuff, then ask yourself the question, is your competitor doing that? And when somebody sees that repeatedly in the community that you're in, are they going to start to lean towards you and build a relationship with your brand? People buy stuff from things that they know about, right? From brands that they're comfortable with and have a relationship with. Content is the opportunity for you to build that relationship. Think about a relationship in general. If you have a relationship with somebody, it's probably because you've spent time with that person and there's content between you two. You're learning about their history, where they're from, what they like, what their favorite food is. Do they have kids? Do they not have kids? What's their career? What are their goals and aspirations? That's all analogous to content in the brand and marketing world. Use your content as a way to express yourself and tell your potential mates or your relationships, which are your customers, about you. That's what content's for. And there's a lot of reasons why you should be using it. And, this article kind of touches on it. I think it's kind of strangely written. Some of the phrases were a little bit strange and I fumbled over them. Maybe it's the Beer Friday. Maybe it's because I'm hungry. I'm ready to eat some food or something like that. But I think we ended on a good note here with content marketing. And that's all I got for you. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video, or at least part of it. I'll be back next week with some more articles. In the meantime, have a good weekend. Have a good week next week. And we'll see you then. See ya.